Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're entering the last phase of this conference, and with that, we are closing 5 hours of constant information, of panels that were so short, and with each and every one of them, one could have actually talked for half an hour each, but this was the plan. We wanted to be short and snazzy, and this is absolutely wonderful. Richard and I are probably going to breathe through, but before that, we are going to show you the same people that we've had at the beginning, and they're going to tell us how they saw and felt that. And we'll make a start with Professor Rolf Henke, and for once, I'm going to get it right. Representative Aeronautics of the Board of the DLR. Of course, you've just changed your job. How dare you? Anyway, now, how was it for you today? I mean, 5 hours power time.
Well, that was pretty exhaustive, but I think we had a lot of expectations for this day today, and most of them have been met. I mean, we had many interesting panels with personalities from all over the aviation system, and messages have been passed, and messages, I think, have been heard around the world. So this part, positive. On the other hand, we couldn't meet personally, so all the friends and colleagues worldwide should be here. And so I very much hope that in 2 years' time, with the Berlin Aviation Summit 2022, we will be here again, maybe not in this specific room, but in Berlin, to talk about these things, have a chat during coffee breaks, have a dinner together, etc. This we couldn't make. In 2 years' time, I would be very much interested to hear where are we in the Green Deal? Did we cope with the pandemic? Can we cope with future pandemics? Maybe the ABC companies, I say Airbus, Boeing, and COMAC, launch a new aircraft, which gives pressure on the system. So lots of questions we can already today ask for the next Berlin Aviation Summit. So it was a success, and I'm very much looking for the next one. Thank you.
And I think Richard is taking it away now.
Absolutely, because we also want to give Mr. Reiner Winkler the chance to voice his thoughts on those 5 hours of condensed information today. And I mean, Mr. Winkler, I assume you're always wearing 2 hats. One is that of the industry association representatives, and the other one is the CEO of one of the largest engine parts maker, I should say, in Europe. And I hope there were things that you could learn and take away also for your everyday business.
Yes, of course. I think the main takeaways for me was, first of all, aviation definitely has a future. And it's good to see that this opinion is shared by everybody. The airlines, they believe in travel demand, and also the investors, they are sure that the air transport business will become profitable again. And we as an industry, we are also sure to be able to develop the necessary technological competences for the greening of our sector. We saw a lively discussion on concepts and technologies for air traffic management, also on fuel, airframes, and also propulsion solutions. To be honest, a fascinating would also be the integration of supersonic air transport with climate-neutral aviation systems. But first things first, in order to confine the effects of the pandemic, we need to resume the epidemic. Our job is to connect people and countries, so it affects all of us in aviation. Just to remember, in 2019, more than 200 million passengers flew and also had the feeling that they were using the safest means of transport. This feeling must be regained. Flying is still the safest way of travel.
Thank you, Mr. Winkler, and I very much appreciate that you chose your screen view so that we could see all the historic propeller machines in the pictures in the back there, because we will have something visual in just a moment also to share with all of you. Before that, we want to give Catalin, of course, also a comment to sum up his ideas and all the lessons learned from today.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. So first of all, the bad news is that we are facing problems in aviation. But the good news is that obviously we have means to overcome the situation. The real problem is not what we are facing today, currently, but the real problem is carbon neutral aviation. And as a research guy, obviously, today I had the opportunity to see that there are many, many solutions. For us, it's a challenge, but this is what research is all about. So obviously, we have a challenge in front of us. So most certainly from the research perspective, I think that would be very, very interesting what will come. So I'm very optimistic. On the other hand, yes, it was impressive. It was a long event. Obviously, our German colleagues did a very good job, and I'm very happy that we had this very interesting event at the end of our tandem aero days together with the European Commission. We've never expected 1 year ago that today we will see this tremendous effort in order to enable such a successful event. And I do thank all our German colleagues for organizing this event.
Well, thank you very much, Catalin. And the nice thing, it's a tandem event, so it's really good to know that the tandem still exists and will exist for the next 2 days. So we'll be seeing each other in the next 2 days again. However, we did have, ladies and gentlemen, an observer. And now finally we can actually see the observer. Christine Eumann has come to us, not just now, but she's actually watched everything. She's been working away, and she's been scribbling on her iPad. Now that is almost not very nice, but you've created something absolutely beautiful, and that's the result of graphic recording, a very different way of actually looking at what is happening intellectually. So please, Christine, take us along the journey that you have observed.
Thank you very much. I am very happy to be here. I'm very happy to listen like the last 5 hours very deeply. And me as being a passenger, I got so many cool results and ideas for the future. I'm so happy to represent this in the picture. So it was so much that I couldn't put it all in one picture. So I made 3 and they're kind of connected. So maybe I can go deeply through the picture. The big bullet points you can see are the points we like the time we had spoken. But I think the most important things are the people. So that's why I put the people also there to remind ourselves about the talks and the topics. Now maybe you can see the first picture. And I try to read. It's a bit hard because it's so far away. Normally my picture is like next to me, so I was like the last 5 hours. Oh, thank you very much. Looking, very like close. Yeah, now you can see it, and I think we started with, of course, facing the pandemic, but also maybe you can see it on the left corner. That we are also facing the climate change, and that is very important to see the sustainability. And I think every picture you see will including the sustainability, and yeah, that's I want to make maybe out of it. Maybe we can have a look at the second one. I think you have the time to look deeper later. On the second part, there were the different perspectives. Of course, different perspectives give different opportunities or like opinions, but what I felt really, really nicely was the connection between each other, to see that whatever we are facing, whatever challenge we have to solve, we don't do it alone, we do it together, and that's what I really, really liked. So probably you see the connection between these perspectives. And maybe just the last pictures to wrap up. So I guess you have time to see it again, but also you can see there's a lot of key visuals, and this just help ourselves to remind us about these cool last 5 hours.
Christine, one quick sentence. What does it do to people that will watch your graphics in 2 years' time?
Hopefully you look at maybe today or tomorrow and feel like that you're not alone, and we are not alone, and we do it together. So I think maybe this is like the main thing, and of course in 2 years you feel like being in a company, and this we should all take into the future.
Thank you very much, Christina. I have to admit I was a bit skeptical how this would work digitally. That's because I was here 2 years ago when we actually had an artist in the room who drew it on pen and paper. And maybe I understand that these digital drawings will be available for our participants to look at, and I don't know if it's technically possible, if I could ask the organizers to try and also upload the same piece of art from 2 years ago to see how things have changed, because that's what we were talking about here all the time, how the aviation industry must become digital, must change, how to face the challenges that it has to deal with. With that, we have some final concluding remarks. Somebody has to pay the bill, so to say, and in that sense, to an extent, it's Jean-Éric Paquet, and over to you.
Hello, thank you very much. Thanks a lot for allowing me on behalf of the European Commission to say a few words to close this amazing afternoon of the Aviation Summit. I think the lessons or the takeaways are firstly the amazing resilience of the aeronautics sector. I think all of you who came in throughout the afternoon were adamant that yes, we are right now in a crisis which I think was impossible to anticipate, and the impact has been particularly deep and severe on the aviation sector. But you all believe rightly that the world and Europe needs aviation, and we will see as we emerge from the pandemic that aviation will recover and work itself into the future. What I also found very remarkable is, and probably to an extent also in contrast with 2 years ago, is that the entire industry, despite the pressure of the pandemic and the crisis, is looking into a sustainable future. I think we all today understand that our citizens and our economies and our societies need air travel, but they want clean, carbon neutral air travel. This is a very tall order, not just for the aviation industry. And in Europe, we will, as we move now in making our recovery and resilience investments available, we will move with the aviation industry in ensuring that these investments, of course, allow the sector to pick itself up and move forward. But as is the case for many other sectors of the economy with you, the expectation is that we build back better, and that we give ourselves the resources, and across all aspects of the aviation system, I could see that this is the perspective, that we put in place investments which allow not only to recover, but also to drive the green and digital transformations needed for Europe across the board, but also in aviation. This will require to continue the engineering marvels of the industry, which you have delivered consistently in the last decades. Of course, I'm speaking here particularly of the European industry, but it's true that a number of partners outside Europe are not doing badly either. But you will continue to do that. But I think what I also heard during these hours, and what I think it was well depicted also in these three very nice graphic summaries, is that we will need, of course, to continue to improve and gain more efficiency, but we will also need to see disruption. And I very much welcome this willingness of industry to be challenged and move into these disruptions, because that is what is needed if we are to find and develop and make available the range of aircrafts which will allow Europe to be carbon neutral by 2050. It is the research which industry will do, which research organizations across Europe will do now, that will allow in 2035, will allow these new aircrafts to become available and move into the market, allowing then aviation to become carbon neutral by 2050. Europe is, of course, part of that process. This was also highlighted by Commissioner Vălean, by Axel Krein, and by many others in the discussions in the afternoon. We are available, in particular, of course, with the Clean Aviation Partnership, to be supporting and to identify and develop with you the disruptive investments which will carry Europe's aviation industry into the future. Thank you very much for a very, very fruitful summit, which I think demonstrates momentum, commitment from all actors, And I want here again to confirm the full availability and support of the European Commission in all its activities to be part of that effort now in the recovery and resilience to ensure these transformations as we move ahead. Well done for a great aviation summit. Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words. We appreciate it. And for me, it's easy. For me, the day is done. I'm taking home my lessons learned. Among them are we owe it to future generations to get flying right. We need sustainable aviation fuels and new disruptive concepts. And we also heard some more controversial things like flying is far too cheap. But the event isn't over. It actually continues for 2 more days.
Yes, absolutely. Unfortunately, without you, but I'm going to have a wonderful other partner as a moderator, Uli Bobinger, who will be joining us tomorrow. And there are 2 days of the forum. So those of you who might have missed 1 or 2 speakers, you're welcome to sign in again. And you can also take your time to actually walk around the exhibitions. Probably you didn't have all that much time today. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, there's always a trade-off. The trade-off is, of course, you do speed, which we did this day, or you do depth. And the next sessions are going to be an hour and a half, and we will really deep dive. And the last thing is, of course, as far as sustainability is concerned, we're not doing it for nothing. We're doing it for the future of our children and grandchildren. I think that's something we should always keep in mind, but we should fly into the future. And with that, it's bye-bye from the Meistersaal for today.